hunger teaches you the best. It's not like any inspiring story. I dreamt of being an entrepreneur. No, I dreamt of not being poor.
And one thing I always think is important is to not look like everyone expects you to look, because that is what, like you said, people will then know it's you straight away because you have your own defined, like unique kind of visual experience.
Short of craziness in believing that we can build something meaningful and impactful if we just learn how to work together and overcome adversity.
Should be a context where ideas and competencies can be exchanged easily within industries.
Because startups are the cauldron of creation, right? Where you need to put in some ingredients. You have no idea what those ingredients are because there's no label on them. You turn up the heat and you start mixing them, and while you're mixing, you're in the pot. So you're mixing the pot with yourself. How can anyone actually, in their right mind, predict and say, okay, this is the plan?
Okay, welcome folks to a new episode of the Website Intelligence podcast, TWIP, which we are referring to internally and externally now. We have today with us Daniel Tamas from Cluj. So we both are from Cluj, also one of the offices of Visitor Analytics in Cluj, as you might know. They also started in Cluj, but we will talk with him extensively about his background and what he's doing actually. Welcome, Daniel. And as a first question, we will usually say that, where did you grow up and what would you say was unique about being there during your younger years? So all these unique elements which you might share with us.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me on the show, Dragos, Matt. Really a pleasure to meet you guys. What was unique about Cluj? I'm a born and raised Cluj folk. And I'm 36 years old. That means in 92, 93, I started seeing as a young boy how things are evolving. And one of the not so unique things back then was pretty much poverty, which I would say is a very unappreciated gift, even by myself. So that was a very important, let's say, ingredient in my development. And one other thing besides this was the possibility of touching a computer in 93, 94, 95, 6, 7 at a place called the Children's Palace. I don't know if you remember it or if you attended it. It was one of the few places in Cluj where you could actually get in touch with the computer, see what it does, just put your hands on it. And I knew that for the first time when I saw a computer, which was in about 93, 4, something like this, at my cousin's house, when I played the first Heroes game, I don't know, maybe it was a bit later, 97, but again, I was young. I knew for a fact that my destiny and my future would be tied to computers.
I see. Yeah, for the audience who doesn't know, the Children's Palace is a place where you can find all these activities based on hobbies. You can find things related to offline things, but also online things. So it was one of the first places actually introducing computer. Matt, I think you wanted to say something.
No, I was just going to say, like, we had this conversation previously with Ignacio Aguirre, who was the CMO at School Chain. He's now moved over to Zappo Bank, but he's a similar age to us, right? I'm 39, so a bit older than you. But I have that same kind of memory of like first seeing a computer, first seeing the internet, first understanding that this was like now the new reality and wanted to take advantage of that kind of thing. With that in mind, what would you say was your first aspiration in terms of career? Like when you were a kid and you were learning computers and you were being inspired by them, what would you say you thought about in terms of your future career?
I could be lying and telling you the PR version of things, how like most people say on podcasts. I had no idea, or I did not have any structured plans as a young boy, dreaming of back then some money to just enjoy life. Um, I knew for a fact that somehow what will I do in my career will be tied to computers, but I had no visibility regarding how will that play out. And it did play out in a very unexpected way. I can go into it now or later, depending on how what your plans are for
No, go for
this
it. Yeah,
podcast.
just carry on. Yeah, maybe just explain like kind of that progression from, being inspired in the first instant to computers, and how progressively did that turn into your first actual opportunity in the field.
Well, okay. I was in my fifth grade when the first internet cafe opened up in our neighborhood, the first ever. It was computers all tied together. We were playing Doom, and I got my ass kicked several times by my parents because I was going to the place and had to spend money there, and money was not a very common resource back then. And at that age, there were some guys who had the internet cafe who I would say I owe a lot, because they were, let's say, kind enough at a lot of times to let me just play around. That is when I learned what Mirk is, what Doom is, what StarCraft is, what a lot of activities, how computers work, how networks work, operating systems. At a point, I was actually, I think, for a month and something like this, I was running the cafe as a supervisor and I was 12,
Nice.
13, something like that. Because I was there all day. It was the only thing I cared about. And I could say that played an important role in me understanding how computers work, but it was nowhere near to the level of me learning programming, for instance, or graphic design.
Mhm.
When I went to high school with all this knowledge, the internet back then in Cluj was still developing, and neighborhood networks started appearing, right? Where people were just banding up together and somebody would just poke a hole in their apartment, put a big router or a switch, and everybody had internet. This was my, in my case, I convinced my father to poke a hole in my room so all the cables could go in and out. And we started, I think by the eighth grade, I finally got my own computer at home. And at first, it was dial up. It was an amazing experience because you actually had to wait for stuff, not like kids these days, when it's not only kids, myself as well. When it's not 5G, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
And especially in Romania, we're kind of spoiled with the internet connections today. And having access to internet and a computer, I started playing even more games. And at that point, my high school buddy and I, he started making playing a game online called Dark Throne, I think it was called. It was an online multiplayer, text based, and we started playing. And because of it, at a point, a Romanian alliance of accounts was being formed that grew into a forum that had a domain, and people started talking. And there were different conversation topics, and that is when I learned how to install, for instance, a forum. You had PHP scripts that were free, and you could install a forum, and people were discussing how to make money online. Now, that was the eye opener in the sense that, okay, I love computers, I love what they do, I love to play, but now I can make money out of a thing that I really enjoy. And I had no idea how that would work, but I know that I made a rentacoder.com account. I was, um, I would say back then I knew 0.01% of what I know today. And that didn't stop me from making an account, just copying what other people were writing in their account as skills. I had no skills, like literally no skills. And I just said, man, if I get the job, I moderated it a bit in the sense that I didn't just dive full into programming. I just went the design route at the beginning. And I was playing a lot with Photoshop. And I started getting jobs like doing custom icons, doing backgrounds, some animations. Back then, I called myself a designer, and I evolved in that direction for a few years, where I made custom websites for people in Flash, and then HTML5, and then PHP, and so on. And it just progressed like this until 2007, when I opened up my first gaming company, and it just built up on that. But this was the way things progressed, and I could say they started since 2002. So I would have more than 20 years working in the field.
So, because it feels like you always had this kind of entrepreneurial spirit, and always it ties back to other guests we had owning businesses. They all had like parents having uh, businesses, or they from an early age started to adopt this entrepreneurial mentality. Uh, you had before any kind of career job, or you went away straight away into entrepreneurship?
So I was doing freelance since my high school, and that is when I started making my own money from, I don't know, 50. And it was good money, $500, maybe $2,000 at times per month. That was a lot of money for a dude with no skills, no training, no school inclusion. And during my first year at the law school, which is may come as a surprise, but I've been stupid more than once. I got, let's say, a friend of mine recommended my work to a company, and they said, "Okay, wouldn't you want to work with us as a web designer full time, and so on?" And I said yes, and I did that for about a year and 7 months, and I'm really, really grateful because of it. Um, because at that time, one of the co-founders of that small studio left, and I just loved taking on responsibility and doing things like sales and pitching the specific product. Don't imagine I was good at pitching or stuff. It just felt natural. In my family, my father owned a business, and he still does. And maybe this is where I got the idea from. But the main driver, honestly, was I did not have stuff to put on me. My parents did not give me any money, so I knew that I was responsible for my own well being. This is the hunger teaches you the best. It's not like any inspiring story. I dreamt of being an entrepreneur. No, I dreamt of not being poor.
And you mentioned your father had a business. That was back then when you were a kid as well, because we've had so many conversations with people on this podcast who were entrepreneurs, and I think all of them. I don't think there's been one person yet who didn't have some kind of entrepreneurialism within the family. And so you were witnessing that growing up. Your father himself having a business and things.
Yeah, pretty much. I have no idea how much of an impact that made, but definitely it did have an impact. But most likely it was a pure curiosity. How can one make money out of their home on their computer, working with people from Brazil, Australia, United States, Egypt, uh, just doing exciting things. And it just one step ahead of the other, and it led to where it led today.
And obviously, as what you are describing, and I briefly checked also your LinkedIn profile, it seems that you have a pretty extensive career also in business per se, as in entrepreneurship. I mean, in terms of product development and all those steps you need to take to launch a product, in a way, it seems like you have a compelling experience. Would you share maybe two, three key moments from your business career which you think it shaped your vision the best?
Oh man, now I have to sound like Steve Jobs or some cool ass guy. Otherwise, I'll be lowering the bar. The first thing was just making my own company. That was the key moment. But becoming like incorporated for real. A second key moment was when my business partner and I back then lost almost all the company because one of our biggest partners was restructuring and they cut our contracts and our deals mid-term. And we did not experience this before, so it was new to us and to how to manage that. Almost all our employees, out of 30 people, we were left with six, I think, six or seven.
Was it still a gaming company, that one?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
got it.
yeah. And another one was,
Maybe one from the WAM times.
well, one defining moment was actually last year when we decided to pivot the economic model of WAM towards blockchain-enabled apps and tokens. That was really eye-opening in the sense that when demand meets supply, there are going to be sparks coming out, and they did. So it was a defining moment, and actually, I'm glad we did it. It was a hard year this year, but it was also very filled with knowledge.
So I'm assuming you pivot because of a some sort of crisis or because you literally saw a better alternative in your business model.
Again, I would want to sound smart, but it was just a crisis, and then we found out. In the sense that we were a traditional app when we started out. We had a very successful beta launch, but then we failed to raise traditional money
Got
for
it.
various reasons. The product was not ready. We did not. It's one thing to make a product and just be lucky with the timing in the market. That was with the other companies. We did not know. We were just lucky and we just went along. And it's another thing to plan to have a success in a new field because we were inventing some shit. And it's easy to sound smart after the fact, but the truth is we were running out of cash. We have an amazing first and only investor, which is Vojko Prian from Arobs. For some reason, he believed in us and in our crappy vision back then, and we actually proved that at least we can be trusted with money. We won't buy any expensive horses, but we were running out of cash. So we got two pointers last year. One of them was from US VCs that we were talking with, and they kept asking, "Why aren't you in crypto? And why isn't your token?" We had a token. We had a token in mind. It was called Tapcoin from Digitap. We had a license, a registration license for it, but we didn't set a date when we're going to integrate the blockchain in the app. So we had that vision from the beginning. And also during the summer, we had community members from the people that were using the app starting writing to us on email, "Hey, how can I sell the token? Where can I buy the token?" And we were a bit, wait, what are these guys talking about? Why are the VCs pointing us towards tokens? And we started researching. We saw Axie Infinity. We saw all the commotion. We were in a due diligence process with a very big company, gaming company, but for traditional equity investment. And we saw things were not moving as planned. It was a very amazing experience, and they were super helpful. But at the same time, I do understand that everybody has their own angle and strategy, which might not help us at times. So after spending 5, 6 months in the due diligence process and seeing nothing was happening, we had to decide because we had one more month left to live. So from on the 10th of September last year, we just decided cold turkey, since starting tomorrow, we're going to be a crypto company.
Oh, man.
I don't know what that means. It's just a sentence. We're going to put it out there. And we started asking people. Our head of crypto was pretty much instrumental and helpful in making this pivot. We worked with him before in a startup he and our CTO was in. So we had this background and we knew each other. And he kept saying, "Look, guys, I know some smart people and you're not them, because people in crypto are throwing money at gaming projects and you're chasing VCs that don't give you 10K and make you jump hoops for those 10K. And I can confirm that this is actually what happened. When we jumped into crypto, We soon had offers to buy the token because we made a token sale as we did it. I mean, as we knew how to make it. If I were to make it again, I would make it differently. But back then, we had $10 million in a month and a half on the table. That was literally crazy. It make no sense. It like literally makes no sense. And since then, by the way, just a lesson that we all learned in the team is that we're never going to go back to fiat as much as we can. It's just a
Yeah,
stupid
yeah.
world. Middle Ages, it makes no sense.
So just to tie back to Steve Jobs as well, because he said you can connect the dots only looking backwards.
Yeah.
So you need to trust somehow that your future steps would connect somehow in the future as well. And I would like also to ask you to tell us about your current role and just to give us some few words on what WAM does, what WAM is. Maybe start even with this, and then your current role as because I know you're stewarding basically this ship called WAM. Yeah.
Well, I know for a fact that I'm not a suited person to run this, in the sense that it's an ever evolving role. WAM is basically a platform that aims to make crypto fun for 1.5 billion people around the world who today enjoy casual and hyper casual games. And we plan to do it by eliminating complexity from the word itself, from the technology, and putting it in a context of playing and having fun with other people. And by exiting the context, you already know how to use a token, you know what seed phrase is, you know what a chain is, what a wallet is, and so on. This is what WAM does, an app with simple games, playable as tournaments where people can win digital assets and status. That's pretty much it. In terms of stewarding this team, I'm as a novice as I can be in this role. For some reason, 32 people trust, let's say, my skills, but at the same time, I trust their skills. So the main reason we are here today is because of the team. My co-founder also has extensive knowledge in social media publishing. Our CTO is like a freaking amazing tech guru,
Machine. Yeah.
tech machine. Our COO has been in the games industry with me for the past almost 10 years. Our product officer, who's also my wife, has been creating, publishing games, making licensing deals, business development on games for the past 10 years. And I will go, I can go through the rest of the team, but there are quite a bit of people. All of them are talented, all of them are committed. And I would say humble enough to learn and know when we do not know.
In one question I have, just
So this is pretty much it. I'm not doing,
carry on. Carry on. Sorry,
sorry.
no, carry on.
This is pretty much it. The only thing that I do differently now is that I have the chance out of all the team to go into podcasts and look smart and talk about how cool we are. But the main fact is that we managed to get here because of the team, number one, and secondly, the community that is actually growing. It's not been easy, and it's not easy. It's a bear market on all fronts. They're just bears right now. But we have been delivering all year round, and I will tell you a bit more about what we achieved later on.
Well, I think like as a observer who's new to knowing both you as a person and also WAM as a company, I think probably the level of honesty and integrity with the role in terms of accepting I don't know all of this, therefore I need people who do know all of that stuff and to trust them. That probably plays a huge role in in building a really like solid, robust company. One question I have is just so you have multiple companies still ongoing today, right? So DigiTrap, Game Arena, WAM, and then also still Idea Studios. You're working on all of those things still, or it's now mainly just WAM, or they all link together somehow? How does that kind of balance work out?
Right now, it's just WAM. This is the main focus that I have. Game Arena is, let's say, an evolution of my past companies where I'm just a shareholder right now, in the sense that we evolved it to Web3 as well to work together with WAM to bring decentralized avatars because we missed this component in the app. And my previous expertise was creating games, viral games for women that involved fashion and hairstyle and makeup, everything that a bearded 100-kilo guy should do, very manly. And I see it very well working together with WAM, but this is pretty much it. The focus itself is on WAM right now. Look, this is the license plate
The hoodie says
on
it all.
me. Um, the WAM, in order to be a global success and capture the market, it needs full focus, and it needs a committed. I would say I'm missing the word. A committed effort from all of everybody in the team to make it happen. And still, with all this, all the good intentions, all the committed effort, all the resources, all the partners, everything that you have, we still have a 99% chance of fucking it up.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we were asking because I'm looking jealously at Elon Musk, how he does everything. And now he's running like Twitter. He has like Tesla. He has Boring Company. He has now, he just launched, maybe you saw the Chat GPT stuff, which is
yeah.
trending big time on, on TikTok. I thought
This is
maybe,
actually a good thing that you mentioned ChatGPT. This is the ChatGPT confirms our vision that we had since last year of making WAM an AI-enabled platform where people can create games with the help of AI and becoming game creators themselves. But we'll get to that in a minute.
I thought you said it's confirming because you wrote on Chat GPT. Does
I
WEM
don't
is
know.
being confirmed as a business model? Ah, okay.
Well, one other question
Got
about
it. Yeah,
your
go ahead.
current role is just you mentioned before that it's a role that's like constantly like changing and evolving and morphing into different things. And I think every time we've spoken to anybody who's a co-founder, that's just the reality, right? Is one minute you're kind of more the chief product officer, the next minute you're more the marketing or sales guy. How would you say your specific role has evolved over the last, say, 6 to 12 months? And what currently would you say is your main focus as an individual within that company?
You have the tough questions. I can say for a fact that I've been everything that was needed from, I don't know, the CEO who would go and pitch, learn to pitch. I had no idea how to pitch. We have two amazing guys in the team that have more than 10 years in M&A and investing, and they were so politely to just tell me, look, guy, you suck. And The main reason I could take that feedback, I want to attribute it to me practicing martial arts, where you are always a student. So I took that to heart, and I literally understood that I suck at pitching, and I still do, but I learned a few tricks from them. And going forward to a designer, web designer, programmer, backend developer, front-end developer, business developer, coach, product, I don't know, legal, accounting, you name it. Uh, I love these things, but at the same time, I quickly realized I had to stop being mediocre at many things at once. And I'm still, it's actually a challenge. And while the operation is small, and it's still small, we still have a lot of work to do, but while it's small in terms of numbers, it's manageable and it is actually required. But once that team grows, more at this stage, I would say coaching rather than management, because it's still, we as Eastern Europeans and Romanians lack a very important skill, and that is
Yeah.
to know how to work with each other in a perfectly well-oiled machine. So this is, I would say, the mission that I'm on right now, and at the same time, to push the vision that we have further and to just live up to my word. Uh, Again, from martial arts, you don't get the black belt by asking for it. You get the black belt by working for it and just passing exam after exam. And I can honestly say this year has been a black belt exam every fucking day. like every day. Every day it was the black belt exam. And we failed a lot of times, and I did fail a lot of times, but here we are. Not Elon Musk. That guy has a different superpower. I do believe in leading with your heart and being, I don't know, fair about what you want and what you don't.
It's so cool that you mentioned pitching and the pitching ability of an entrepreneur, because also in our clients ecosystem at Vista Analytics, we have many business owners, especially small and medium-sized business owners who want to get maybe to the next level. They may be trying to attract some money from the markets. Uh, let's say maybe which were the two, three elements, or how many elements you would like to mention, which you thought maybe they were true, and now do you think they are false, and you improved in such a way your business pitching?
One of the things that I thought was true was that I know how to present the product and the vision. Oh man, I was wrong. I was wrong on so many levels, and I'm continuously improving on that. Secondly, that if you have a vision, good people can work together and know how to work together flawlessly. That was false. You still need to work on the team itself and on the culture and how things should be.
Mhm. So essentially, sorry to cut in there, you're saying, if, because these are the mainly the things I heard in the market, that you have to have like similar values and different competencies which would fit together somehow. So you're saying that even if you have those similar values, you still have to work at the team and get aligned on certain topics, so on and so forth.
Think of it like this: we have the same values, uh, both you and I, right? And we like competency, and at the same time, we like results. Very soon, we will start clashing because we are competitive by nature, and we will start getting frustrated with another because, as we all know, communication is the hardest of the skills one man or woman can actually master. So yeah, it's uh,
Yeah.
it's an ongoing challenge, and I do believe that only getting past these stages, these are stages, every startup goes through these stages, you can actually hope of becoming a global success. So it's not even insured, but what is pretty damn sure is that if we don't get past this stage, we won't make it to the next one.
Gotcha.
It's like, I think it's a common error, right, of like founders or CEOs, that when they have their own vision and they really believe in it and they're really passionate about it, they kind of believe, kind of naively, that everyone's going to just feed off that passion, and therefore they'll all be sharing the same thing. They all completely understand the vision, completely aligned with it. Whereas actually, you need to, yeah, create proper structures and processes so everyone knows what their part of the vision kind of creation is. So you can kind of be more strategic in terms of how you step towards something. Makes a lot of sense.
And just to add on that, and actually just before you go on, Matt, and also trying to communicate that vision as frequently as possible, in my opinion, as well, among the team, because maybe you have new joiners as well, so you need to get aligned on certain topics. Those are actually my 2 cents. Sorry, just
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think even for me, like having like a marketing department, to try and align with, as we grow, as we shift and change what we're doing slightly. I always now look at, when I have conversations with CEOs and I hear about the challenges they're facing, and they talk about how, maybe in support things are a bit weak, or maybe in the product side, or maybe this side. I just, like, now I have such an appreciation for how many things are being balanced all at the same time. It's very hard to have your eyes open to everything, and to ensure that that balance is always in place. So that's why you're kind of bobbing around, changing from thing to thing all the time. It's a big challenge, but that's why it's fun as well, right? I'm going to
Oh,
move on slightly to the next segment, which obviously this is the Website Intelligence podcast, and so we talk a little bit about websites and this kind of thing. Like, in terms of at WAM, what kind of role does the website play in your company, and how would you say, are the most kind of typical like channels and conversion points that your users have to getting them, from being someone who's learning about what you do to being an active user of your platform?
Well, you will learn something today, and that is that I really love web technology. I've been doing web stuff since I put my hands on my computer. So what you see now, when you download the app, it is actually a web view loading up a URL. So we built the initial vision regarding the technology side was to build a web app that can give users a better experience in playing games than native apps, or at least on par, but with less cost and with more device compatibility. So right now, WAM is a web app. It's being built with Nuxt.js. I love that framework, and I love Vue. Um, and This was the vision regarding how much reach can we get. So we can get the iOS, we can get the Android, but we can also get the mobile web and desktop. We don't have a desktop version yet, but it's just a matter of adding the template. This is how I view websites. I do believe that web itself and the browser is making a very huge comeback that will make most of app development obsolete. It makes sense. It's so powerful, so capable, and especially the games that we're publishing can be made with web technology that runs on your phone seamlessly, with less privacy issues, by the way, than native apps because you don't have access to a lot of APIs, and that makes it safe by design. And at the same time, a wider device compatibility and cheaper on the pocket. If you're in a developing nation, you don't want to download, I don't know, 300 megabytes of game from your stores on your cell phone, on even on your Wi-Fi. Whereas a web app, you can easily, I don't know, cut down 80% of the code, 90% of the code, and just make it very, very light. And on
I
the
So,
touch
so
points,
carry on.
no, sorry, go ahead.
on the touch points with where the users come right now, our biggest is on Android from the store, and next is iOS because we focused on downloads for the moment. And once a user gets past the amateur level that he's on in terms of skill, they will spend more than 1 hour playing. So this is our focus right now, to improving the conversion rate from amateur to the other levels of skill.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add my 2 cents on the topic, because you're saying also what crazy success Figma had, which was a browser app in a way, and was in terms of the collaborative kind of tools. Now they're saying the next unicorns are coming from still the same collaborative tools, but in terms of video editing or some other sorts of iterations. And I just wanted to ask you on this topic, whenever you build your website, or whenever you wanted to whenever you're looking at the website now, did you model it through other benchmarks from the industry, or you literally created it from scratch?
Literally created it from scratch. I have a
I
very
see.
big problem with copying.
Hmm.
Copying concepts is sometimes useful, or copying mechanics, which is a totally different thing from visuals, right? But when it comes to a unique product and something that distinguishes one in the market, I believe that companies that will succeed will be better at creating their own, let's say, brands and visuals that people can identify very easily just by taking a glance.
I was going to say as well, I'm just on your website now. It does look very unique. It's very striking. It's really interesting. It doesn't look like how I would expect this kind of, platform website to look. And that's the main thing, right? It's one thing we're kind of moving towards redesigning our website at some stage in the next few months. And one thing I always think is important is to not look like everyone expects you to look, because that is what, like you said, people will then know it's you straight away because you have your own defined like unique kind of visual experience. I also noticed that you have this, like blog and resources section as well on your website. So that's also something I'm not sure many people in your space really have. Maybe in the crypto space, but maybe not in the kind of gaming crypto space quite so much. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Like how much like of an emphasis do you put on this kind of educational element of your website and creating content and things? And what kind of benefit do you think that you
Um,
get from doing this?
Being in crypto taught us that we need to be in close relationship with our community. That meant putting up updates so people know that we are alive. We found out this year that, and probably you guys know, a lot of crypto projects are scams.
Yeah,
And that is one concept that literally makes my skin crawl, because I've been, as I knew in terms of skill and in terms of knowledge, I've been trying to build a company that makes a global impact, right? In my naivete from Cluj. So again, I'm not that smart. The glasses fool you. And being transparent and communicative with the community helped us at least remain relevant. Like people knew that we were pushing updates, we were trying to do stuff. By the way, we're uncovering a new market, a new blue ocean. We're inventing some business models. We're inventing new ways of people playing or interacting with each other with the help of blockchain. So it was kind of required to keep this contact with the community and with the people that bought in our initial vision. At least this is what we could do. If we're doing it right, I have no idea, because we didn't get any feedback on the, for instance, blog posts like, look, this is really helpful or not. But we do see people reading it. Not many people, 200-300 people a post. But if that helps somebody using our app and understanding more about what we do and what our vision is, then we're doing a good job.
Got it. And just moving on slowly towards our next question, because as Matt says, we are here on the Website Intelligence podcast. We're focusing lots of also on KPIs and analytics. Are there any key figures are you most interested at the moment in your business? Whenever you're launching maybe a marketing campaign, or if you have some kind of KPIs you're monitoring on a daily basis?
Yes. So right now we're doing only organic marketing. We're doing social media content creation that has proven very successful. It's most of the, I mean, not most, all the results on that side are thanks to Alex, my co-founder, and Ellie, who is our head of social media content creation. We're not purchasing any traffic just yet because we still have a lot of reach to cover and a lot of markets to be in. The KPIs that we look at is video reach in terms of social media, and then conversions on the install URL on a profile, and then the install rate in the stores, the churn rate, like people who uninstall, and then the day one retention, day 7 retention, day 14, day 30, and then the basically the purchase when the purchase happens. Given that we're still adapting the app based on our findings, these are not, let's say, set in stone numbers that we can scale with paid traffic at this point. Plus, again, organic is a better channel for us at this exact moment.
But when you say organic, which are the main mediums you're
TikTok,
pushing your content through?
TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
You're using YouTube Shorts as well.
Yeah, yeah, YouTube Shorts. So everything that is real, YouTube Shorts and TikTok.
Got it.
It's an evolving strategy. We have no idea. I mean, in terms of angles, our social media content creator is focused on getting new angles. I'm pretty much old for thinking about them, so I'm not the right age group at this point. So he has free, let's say, free reign on what is being created. Sometimes the videos are not necessarily as we would expect. Given that we work with algorithms, it's just a matter of hitting the right nerve on that algo so we can get that reach. Um, but yeah, this is what we do right now.
In terms of like the broader like kind of tech or the tech stack you have as a company, like what kind of role would you say like the technology plays, not only in the actual platform itself, but in terms of the kind of marketing side, the measuring these KPIs such as churn and these kind of things, but also in terms of the like collaboration side, like working together with a team and trying to create a shared vision and unity and collaboration. What kind of tech would you say is most important within the kind of stack or within your company?
And just to
So
add, just to
Discord.
build something, just a quick one on what Matt said. If you're using any kind of analytics tool for your in-app analytics, sorry, yeah, sorry for too many
So
questions in one.
no, no worries. For the company and to get ourselves organized, we use Discord for our community as well. Also Telegram and Twitter, Google Drive. We also have our own private cloud. In terms of analytics, we use Firebase and Google G4. It's a pain using it since the update. I've been accustomed to the old analytics, and I feel I'm getting old. It's not that easy to get accustomed with new types of namings and metrics and all that shit. But luckily, I'm not the one looking at them constantly, and the team has learned this for a while now. And what are other things? I think pretty much, and Slack.
That's
So
like,
our
yeah,
ticketing,
wanted to ask.
yeah, is using Slack. The tickets in the app go to Slack. Mm, of course, GitHub, somewhat Bitbucket, but too many tools complicate things. So we actually started reducing the tools that we were using because all of a sudden, from a gaming company, we were, I don't know, almost a consultancy company in which tools to use because we tested a lot of them and it started consuming time.
Super stuff. And on the personal side, do you have any kind of pieces of technology or apps which you are using on a daily basis? Maybe, I don't know, to grow yourself or to entertain yourself, or any thoughts on
I
this area? Yeah.
ditched, I ditched TikTok from my phone.
Man, it's
I'm
crazy. It's so
clean
addictive.
3 weeks now. I'm still using Instagram for the reels part, but I'm using it less and less. I would say WhatsApp and again Discord on my phone, and this is pretty much it.
Any Spotify or some
No, no,
podcast
I'm
listening?
not a Spotify user. I know I'm in a very weird group where I don't use any Spotify stuff. Usually, I don't listen to music, and when I do, it's AC/DC on maximum, and that's it. Thunderstruck and two others, Mongolian metal, so I can focus.
What just going back a little bit into this like the role of a CEO and the fact that there's so much happening all the time. Do you use any kind of like platform or any kind of app or anything like this to help in terms of you structuring, your weeks and your days and how you plan things and how you manage, your own personal life as well?
So, just so you know, my personal life is my wife, my dog, and myself going to the office every day at 9:30 after walking the dog, and going back home at 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. So we're both in this. She's a bit more ambitious than I am in terms of delivering stuff. In terms of organizing things, I have a Google Calendar, but I'm not one of those. I'm not a role model CEO. I see a lot of tips and tricks on how to master your calendar and manage your days. I hate that shit. It makes no sense to me. I just put in the calendar only the things that I'm interested in, like the important calls when I don't miss mails and go into spam and prolong podcasts with cool guys. And this is pretty much it. Luckily, the team that I have also keeps me organized. But in terms of getting one organized, I find it to have a better approach when I'm thinking in terms of martial arts. In the
Yeah,
sense, then this is how my brain works. Um, you don't need many things to do every day, even if one can do a lot of things during the day. You just need to do the things that matter and be very, let's say, thoughtful about how you identify the things that matter, because these are also complex topics. Other than this, I could say things like most of the CEOs don't admit. Sometimes I have no fucking idea what I'm doing in terms of like, what is this shit? Why am I not, I don't know, reopening my OnlyFans account and making easy money with putting stuff up my soul, right? Um, yeah, well, yeah, it's a crisis, you know. You need to have options. The bottom line is, I'm the only reason I'm being able to do things is because of the team, and this is not a joke, not a like the US type of humble brag. Oh, I'm humble. No, no, no. This is for real. The only reason I can make progress is because of the team that I have, and let's say short of craziness in believing that we can build something meaningful and impactful if we just learn how to work together and overcome adversity.
yeah. I think this.
Such a nice. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think this kind of message is super important to people listening because I find that as well when you look at these other companies, like for me, other CMOs at other companies, and I think, God, they have like the creative side, and then they're so structured, and they're doing events as well. How can they manage all these things? And because they're presenting themselves as being these kind of perfectionists who have every single element completely, nailed, and then you hear from people like the guys from Metadata, who recently kind of were very open and said, we kind of blag a lot of what we do. And they talked about their strategy for next year. And they released some kind of podcast where it was like, don't have a strategy for a whole year. It doesn't make any sense. If you're a tech company growing,
Look, this
why?
is, I have to cut you in on this because this is a trigger on my end. And this is one thing I never understand, but I do understand the logic behind it, but I still, at the end of the topic, I don't understand it. Why investors, for instance, ask you for a fucking big plan. Why? Because startups are the cauldron of creation, right? Where you need to put in some ingredients. You have no idea what those ingredients are because there's no label on them. You turn up the heat and you start mixing them, and while you're mixing, you're in the pot. So you're mixing
Yeah,
the pot with yourself. How can anyone actually, with in their right mind, predict and say, okay, this is the plan? And this is one of the reasons investments fail before product market fit, before teams, because entrepreneurs better than myself know how to sell their product better. They get the money, but they don't know how to build. They don't know how to do a lot of things, and then they fail. And the general statistics is like, hey, this amount of startups fail because I don't know, whatever reason. And for instance, when we pitched WAM to Vojko Pran, it was a different beast.
Just for our audience, Vojko Piran is one of the most reputable entrepreneurs,
Yes.
not only in Cluj but in Romania as well. He built a multi-million-dollar company, a worldwide
He's
multi-million-dollar company.
he's the
Go ahead.
biggest software company listed on the Romanian stock exchange. He's not only big in Romania but big in Europe and Southeast Asia. And I actually took some coaching, did some coaching with him, and learned quite a few things. So I really appreciate him for that
So
and taking
Vojko,
the
if you
time.
hear this, Vojko, if you hear this podcast, please come on, come on the show. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll make sure he knows it.
Thanks.
And when we pitched it, it was a different beast. We had a different app, different business model. We made some predictions, but when you're inventing things some shit will go down, and maybe I'm not maybe 100% I'm lacking the proper, let's say, mental framework to make these predictions and then adjust them. But for myself, they make no sense. But it is important to have that North Star, like where do you want to go? What is the revenue that you want to get? But this is pretty much it. Other than this, in a very new startup inventing things is waste of gray matter. It never happens.
And I
It
think,
just the prediction exists just to I don't know, help investors swallow a tough pill.
yeah. I think the problem with it is that you have so many people, whatever position they might be in, if they're kind of creating part of a strategy, whereby they're creating it because they feel they have to, and they want to kind of prove that they're doing all the research and thinking about all of the things. And then what you end up with is something that's so complex, there's not even any kind of platform or any kind of time that you can really share the strategy with anybody or align on it, when actually if you just align on, say, three key things you want to achieve that year, and then as you start to plan throughout the year and have new ideas and new things happen, then you can go back to this very mini framework and say, what do they feed into? Do they feed into one of these key objectives? And so you can have like a very loose framework, but certainly trying to cement everything long in advance and expect to be able to stick to that in any kind of way, shape, or form just doesn't make any sense. Having said that, the next question I'm going to ask you is a bit contradictory to this, because it's about what you have planned next. So as you kind of move into 2023, both as an individual but also as WAM, the company, what are you kind of the key things that you have on your agenda, on the company's agenda, as you move into the next year?
We are now at a point where, given it's a bear market, it's the right time to continuously build on the vision that we started off with and to capture as much as possible from the market that we identified. It's still up for grabs. Blockchain gaming will be freaking huge.
Yeah.
And I will say this: WAM will lead the way. WAM will be the number one platform for simple casual games with blockchain technology embedded in the world. We plan to integrate artificial intelligence into our product as much as possible and as deep as possible, because we believe that the next era of casual entertainment will be driven by AI and by content generated by AI, where everybody can be a creator of their own fun and where other people can contribute to that development, can have the fun together with other people, and so on. In terms of company, our plans are pretty simple: to get profitable, number one, simple as that, and then to expand to different regions where we are not present yet, to just expand the user base.
Just on based on that question, because obviously if you're aiming to lead the way in terms of crypto gaming, basically you're clashing with, let's say, Western companies who have like unlimited cash resources and access to unlimited talent as well. Are you planning, or are you looking also employing people, even maybe you are at the moment employing people from abroad, remote employees?
We do have. We are a we're a multinational distributed team.
Got it.
We have a team from Ukraine, the Philippines, Indonesia, Nigeria. We work with studios from Slovenia, Argentina, I think the UK. So we have, in this day and age, companies are being transformed as we speak.
Yeah.
We can observe this in real time. DAOs will be the companies of the next 10 years, and this unlocks talent from wherever you are in the world. It's no longer necessary to be face to face. Although I am in favor of personal meetings and being part of a focused team, because it's the best way to what's it called, to enhance the group knowledge. So it's a different type of environment. It's like a tribe, and you make you that knowledge is compounded when you're together. when you're individual and when you're doing stuff that is best suited for creation. Like if you want to create stuff that you have, I don't know, bugging you, the best environment to do it is to be like solitary confinement in a prison.
Yeah.
That's the best place you can be in. Otherwise, you get too many stressors, too many stimuli that just cloud your vision, cloud your mind, and you cannot get to the right answer that you're after.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I just have one like slightly backtracking question. Is can you just explain a little bit about like why is it that you have this confidence when it comes to like crypto gaming, crypto casual gaming? To be honest, I'm not a big gamer, right? So I used to be a bit of a gamer when I was younger, but even this concept of, casual gaming and hyper casual gaming, I think you said, is like a bit foreign to me. Can you just explain a little bit about why you have this confidence that this market is really going to be, something that really takes off in the coming years?
Sure. Having been in this market for the past 15 years and just toying around, just poking around, seeing what goes and what doesn't, and making a lot of bad mistakes, having a lot of fuck ups, having a lot of just bad deals, and a lot of frustration, a lot of money lost, and developing on the web and seeing how the browser evolved, one starts seeing patterns and starts seeing cycles, right? How things are evolving in cycles. It's not literally fortune telling, or it's just pure observation. You can know the future by looking at the past. Some smarter dude or dudette said this, and I agree with it. Simple games, like think of it like this: in the history of humanity, us as a species managed to evolve and accomplish complex tasks and endeavors by eliminating complexity from the topic and replacing it with a fun activity. What did that do? It just eliminated anxiety and made the learning process faster. Okay, so now we're in the face of a very huge technological challenge, a technological revolution, which is the blockchain. In itself, as let's say a global scale experiment, it might fail for several reasons. I believe it will not, especially the technology side. The Pandora's box on this end has been opened. The world will never go back to previous non-blockchain era. It's not possible, and there are tons of benefits. And now the question is, how do you bring a billion users to actually use the blockchain like you use your light switch? Everybody knows what a light switch is. You just turn it on, light comes on, turn it off, light goes away. Simple as that. You don't need to know how the electrical current works,
Yeah.
what the wiring is, how much you're paying for the current, and so on. You just flip a switch, right? So the question was for us, what is that switch in terms of blockchain usage? And we quickly realized that by having simple games that people don't need to learn, that they can access on their phone with a single hand while they're commuting, while they're sitting on their couch, or I don't know, on your toilet, whatever you do, because that is also a very recorded time, toilet time, you can actually experience a blockchain enabled DApp without knowing that is actually using the blockchain. But at the same time, getting the benefits out of it. For instance, if you get digital assets, let's say NFTs, that you can later on sell on a secondary market. Why? Because it's yours, or you want to bring your own NFTs to the game and replace the skins that you have by default with your own. This is also possible. And then you can sell them on a secondary market. What this does is it enables people to experience a technology, a life-changing technology, without them being worried about, hey, is this safe? Is this complex? Am I too stupid to learn it? Is it too late for me to learn it? What can I do with it? And this is why I'm confident, because right now the predictions are that in 7 years' time, by 2030, 3 billion people will be playing casual games on their phone. Today, the games industry is the biggest industry out of all, bigger than music and video combined. So this is like a very huge industry where people create for fun. They play for fun. Some of them play to win stuff. Some of them are really hardcore competitors. But think of it like this: what was the first thing? What was the? Let me ask you this: what was the first device that you ever touched growing up? First electronic device.
Yeah,
That's a good question.
I think was the PlayStation game.
For me,
You're old. I think.
well, for me, if we're talking
I would
computers,
say Tetris.
say again, say again. What was your answer?
Tetris.
Tetris. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
yeah,
I
yeah.
did. Yeah, Tetris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in my day, I was handheld little game. Yeah, yeah.
So everybody, I can literally write it down now, has had a gaming experience when they first touched technology. Windows was successful because of Solitaire and Minesweeper.
I remember those days.
So all of these new technologies actually were adopted at a larger scale because of the games that they brought in,
Yeah.
and they made people feel excited about them. So this is why I'm confident, because we know for a fact and we see that people change their behavior regarding how they consume games, what they think about games, how much do they play. And with the help of AI, we are entering an age where work will be less and less done by men and women. So we will have a lot of spare time on our hands to
Yeah,
do
you see the
what?
example with the Chat GPT stuff as well. Just to
ChatGPT is an amazing tool. I want it every day.
yeah, as a
So this is
gateway,
why I'm
as a
confident.
jumping point. Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Imagine you just giving a command to your, I don't know, radiator or speaker. Hey, I want a new website. I want a new app, and I want a database with 10,000 somethings with content and whatnot, and I want this and that, and it just magically appears 10 minutes later if the AI was slow. And we're entering an age where people will create more with the help of AI, and then we will create new businesses, new business models, new activities. And one of the activity that has never gone away in our history is playing and having fun.
Yeah, so
I
true, so
I
true.
even remember
Anyway,
when you
thanks
start
for
talking. Sorry, just is in my head when you start talking
no. Go
about
ahead.
Minesweeper and Solitaire. I even remember in Excel they had that hidden game, right? Do you remember this? You went down to a certain cell and you had to like
Yes.
double click, and then you went into this different game. So even that kind of thing, yeah, you're busy working
Guys, what
away.
are you talking about?
Back in the day,
Yeah.
there was
We're
this
old. We're old. We're old.
there was a hidden game in Excel, and if you went to a certain row in a certain column, you could double click on it, and you went into this
Yeah.
proper
I see.
game. Those were the days.
Yeah.
I, anyways, yeah, yeah. Transitioning to the last minutes of the show of the episode. Maybe you should, because you're such an organic type of entrepreneur. You grew organically, essentially, doing business online and offline as well. Would you share any 2 3 advices you would give to anyone who would like to go on in entrepreneurship? Which were
This is a
that
very
two
tough
three? Yeah.
question. First, I hate giving advice, even though it may seem I love giving advice. We're now in an age where everybody's giving advice to everybody. Advice, I would not say advice, I would say personal observation based on the context that I was in, but that's it. It's like personal learnings, and then you take what is useful for you and you decide on your own.
Exactly. Things to consider in your opinion. Yeah.
First, if you're a sane person and you want a life filled with money and fulfillment, don't fucking do entrepreneurship. It makes no sense. There's a ton way more methods of making money and being happy and enjoying that money than sucking at stuff all the time and being happy about it because you have the opportunity of, I don't know, being your own boss. That's stupid. So think very carefully when you want to call yourself an entrepreneur, because there's a saying that be careful what you wish for because the universe will punish you and give you that thing. The second advice would be try doing things alone, but find mates who can vibe the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And when they don't, just bail.
I see. Okay.
Follow your values and respect your values. Don't ever cheat on your values and have them. It's important to have values. Otherwise, you're in a category of people that I don't want anything to do with
Mm-hmm.
in that respect. Thirdly or fourthly, invest a lot of time in just learning a craft. This is just my engineering brain, even though I'm not a trained engineer. I'm a sadomasochist. I've learned programming by myself when there was no coding books around. But it's important to learn the craft of one thing because they can help you, or it can help you in another aspect of your endeavors. And knowing things is useful. I'm not even sure why I'm saying this in 2022, but knowing things is awesome. And last but not least, start early.
Mm-hmm.
The 20s are the best year. Don't go to, I would say, especially in Romania, don't go to university. It makes no sense. At 18, 19, it makes no fucking sense. Unless you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, it makes no sense. And why I'm saying this is because you do not know what you want. Just take 2 or 3 years. Nobody dies. Nothing happens. But you just learn to know yourself and what you like and what you don't like. I learned that I would want to do the math university at 30. Why? Because I felt so stupid when I saw an algo, like a line of code like this long, doing what I wrote a page long. So I felt really stupid, and I knew exactly at that moment this is the university I would have gone to. These would be my observations and let's say learnings, and these are coupled to learn how to work with people.
Mm-hmm.
And you do it by volunteering and just taking very weird challenges as a 20-year-old something.
Mm-hmm. But many of the times, the 20-year-olds or the younger people, with all the TikTok advices, with all the fake entrepreneurs online, they're expecting somehow the success extremely early in the process. I
That's
mean,
dangerous.
yeah.
That's very dangerous. And the reason it's dangerous is because you do not have the proper framework, the mental framework and the emotional framework to process that success. Plus, you don't know who your friends are. You don't know what your family is or how they will react to your success. You don't know who to ask for help if you need it. And that's a dangerous time to have success in. I'm not saying it's not possible or it's I'm against it. No. But I made a lot of mistakes, like a lot of mistakes. Look, this forehead, you see it? I've banged every freaking doorway possible. So the 20s are not for having success because you have a long life and the life expectancy only grows. The 20s are for accumulating knowledge and for accumulating skill and for just fucking up because nobody cares. Nobody has money in their 20s. But when you go to your 30s, at least know a topic. Just
Mm-hmm.
be confident in a topic. And then be part of a team. Why? Because 1 + 1 + 1 is not 3. It can be, I don't
Yeah.
know, 37 or Tuesday or Orange, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not 3. And that's a different. In Eastern Europe, specifically in Eastern Europe and Romania, we're not taught to think like this.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. Yeah.
Well, I have one last question, sorry, just because I'm relatively new to Cluj, right? I've been there since beginning of January, well, mid-January this year, but back and forth a little bit. But I've maybe spent about 5 months, I'd say, this year there. What do you see happening? Like, what have you seen happening in Cluj in the last few years, and what do you see happening in the next couple of years when it comes to tech and entrepreneurs and startups and this kind of environment? Are you confident with the way it's going? Do you think it's going to continue to go in this positive direction?
Cluj has known a booming period when the outsourcing companies were being formed and grown. I do believe that time is about to end, or it should end, we should be bolder in what we dream to do, in what we actually do, because we've proven that, at least in terms of technical skill, we have the capabilities of building amazing products that can have a global impact. Now, what we do not have is the capital and the marketing.
Exactly. Yeah.
But these are, you can attract capital and you can buy marketing, learn marketing, attract young people that want to do marketing. Also, one thing that should improve, and I want to contribute to this, and I hope you guys want to contribute to this as well, is building solid, sane, healthy business environment where ethics and values stand at the core, and cooperation is the foundation of prosperity amongst other companies.
Exactly.
This is what, this is at least my expertise. Every time when I managed to cooperate with somebody, it was better for me as well. When you have a competition, usually it turns out unhealthy at a point, and somebody cuts corners and values get fucked, and then you have like a toxic environment where you just lost everything that you've built.
Yeah, I feel the same way, that actually exchanging information should be way more smooth in Cluj landscape, but also at large in Romania as well. I think we are so much more lacking in communication skills, as you mentioned as well, and there should be a context where ideas and competencies can be exchanged easily within industries.
Yeah, but you know why it's hard? Because in Romania, like in other places as well, we're also surrounded by charlatans,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of them. So it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to be open, honest about stuff when you know, like U.S. movies, they will be used against you, not with you, not for you. So then you kind of start wondering, hey, look, I'm putting my soul and my creative capabilities, but I'm getting fucked over and over and over. I'm gonna stop doing that because it's stupid. So this is why I'm saying a business environment that encourages and rewards ethical behavior and punishes and actually removes bad behavior, bad actors, because they exist.
Makes a lot of
By the
sense.
way, Matt, what do
Yeah.
you like about Cluj? I'm curious now on my end.
Um, so I don't know. I find it. I've always enjoyed. I've lived in lots of different countries over the past 10,
I
15
hope.
years,
Okay.
and I always like find being somewhere which appears to be moving forwards. So somewhere that's progressive. It's always like an appealing environment to be living in, right? So there are certain parts of the UK. London's an exception, and there are a few other cities that are an exception to this, where it feels almost like things are declining. There was some progress
Okay,
made in certain areas, and now
cool.
things are slightly declining.
I think
Um,
he froze for a bit, but anyways,
I'll just carry on. I'm sure you'll
maybe
come
he
The
would
back.
like
internet
to.
connection, the
It's
internet
okay.
connection is not like Cluj.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
exactly, because
Is it
he's
me?
in UK.
Is
He's
it
in
me that
UK
you
now.
can't
Yeah.
hear? Is it me that you can't hear? You can hear me.
Yeah, exactly.
You can hear me now, or you can't
Yeah,
hear me.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you can hear me
Now
or
it's
Right now,
not.
yeah.
all good.
Yeah, but you froze for a bit.
Yeah, I know. There's wind. Yeah, UK
For a
infrastructure.
bit more,
If
maybe.
there's any rain or any wind or any snow, we fall to pieces. But no, I like the progressive feeling. I think it also stems from the fact it's a very young population, right? Because of the universities. You can't hear what I'm saying, or can you?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
No,
we
no,
can, we
this,
can.
yeah, I heard. Yeah, I heard.
But and people are just very friendly, and it has a very nice balance in the city itself between this kind of like culture and history and the architecture and things like this, and then also like this very friendly, open, progressive kind of like community feel. And then within the working environment, I think people are typically very open, very friendly, very ambitious, looking to learn and to grow. I know our team at Vista Analytics, within marketing, we have around, I think, 10 or 12 of us based here, others in the UK, others in different countries. But the ones that we have here, everyone's just, super keen to grow and to learn and to progress. So those are some of the things I really like. The reason I asked you the question was because myself, as someone who's an outsider kind of coming into the city, um, I really, have a good feeling in terms of the way the city's heading and the way things are progressing. And I think, like you said, this whole ethical side of things. I think having, we certainly want to next year be more of a part of the broader community. So the broader community in terms of tech, in terms of business, trying to make sure that other companies are supporting each other, having a place where they can come together, share ideas, exchange these things. So yeah, for me, it's we're very happy to be there, and we're looking forward to kind of growing there together with the city itself. I apologise for the UK's internet connection.
Cool. Thank you for that.
So, this being said, I think we can move into our next questions, last question, sorry, and maybe Daniel will find this odd, but anyways, I'll go ahead with it anyway. So, this is actually one of the most requested questions for us from our TWIP community, and it's top 5 things you decide. So, it's literally a top 5 which you would encompass whichever things you think of. Maybe it's books, maybe it's advices, even though you don't want to give them apparently. uh, I don't know, maybe skills which you're looking at maybe in the future for any young people to learn. This is, I know it's a very trendy topic, which skills you're trying to guide your children to acquire for the future. So I hope I'm not putting you on the too much on the spot here, so
Top five.
yeah, yeah, even if they're not like necessarily in a specific order.
One, the first thing that comes to mind, and I could say it helped me a lot, is martial arts, and especially Aikido. So that is, even though in the past 2 years I've been slacking around physically, but mentally that still happens.
But
Second,
did you picked up Aikido since you were younger, or it's a recent thing?
10 years.
10 years. Okay, okay, got it. Okay.
And before that, I was a karate practitioner. Actually, I was a national champion at karate. So a lot of my, let's say, history is revolving around martial arts.
Got it. I see. Okay.
Secondly, would be teamwork. Thirdly, would be competence. Be competent at the topic. Fourth, be courageous. This is something that is in the top four, and it's not easy. So you're not courageous when the everything is on your side. You're courageous when it's against you. And the fifth would be, I would say, family, the close family. I wouldn't say I'm much of a family guy, but given that literally my family, my wife and my dog are in WAM for the past 5 years, day in, day out, I would say this is important.
By the way, on based on your last point, because such an interesting one. So essentially, you're saying you're having a very good experience when you're looking at business as a family business. It's good to have also maybe family members or to work with family members in your business.
The main thing here is competence, not necessarily family. So if I wouldn't consider, for instance, Anka, who is my wife, competent in what she does, we would not be working together, regardless if we are family or not. But given that she is, and I trust her expertise, it makes it, let's say, easier. Not easy, easier. At the same time, it's challenging because the pressure is a lot bigger on her end to prove herself constantly. But it's just a matter of working with competent people.
Hmm.
Family, having her in the team makes it easier to understand what the hell I'm doing at the office.
Got it.
But this is pretty much it. Other than this, having a supportive family, somebody that can understand, not necessarily understand your business, but to understand the pains, to
Yeah, yeah.
understand the challenges, to understand the
The whole,
demons.
yeah, the whole
Yeah,
viewpoint. Yeah,
yeah,
the whole optics.
that
Yeah,
helps a lot.
got it, got it. Well, Daniel, thanks very much for being here. So many golden nuggets, I would say, we picked up from this conversation. I think you're a very wise man, and
Thank you. You're too kind.
I
I'm
hope.
maybe the golden nuggets were things not to do.
Yeah, 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 definitely, definitely. But also your suggestions towards what to guide us in the future. It's so helpful, and I hope we can meet also in the physical sphere,
Flesh.
in the flesh. Well, dear Twippers, you had Daniel from WAM. He's the CEO and co-founder. I'm together with my co-host Matt Sarson, who is the CEO of Visual Analytics. I myself, I'm Dragos. I'm the head of integrations and partnerships. And I'll see you in the next episode. Stay close.
Okay,
Thank
guys.
you, Matt. Thank you, Dragos.